Howdy, Possum Patty here, and today I have my little golden book, Wonders of Nature Junk Journal. Come on along. This little golden book, Wonders of Nature Junk Journal, with a lot of garden and nature pictures and journaling in here, is getting kind of heavy and getting kind of chunky. I love it when they get like this. I love to work in them when they start looking like this. I had a little quiet time this morning and I did do a little journaling, so I'm going to show you that. And I'm actually working on another page, so let's go right over to the other camera. Well, this has been floating around for quite a while. I guess apparently this past spring, I finally sewed the signatures in, but basically I did make this quite a while ago. And there was even a couple pages in here that I had put together back at that time. And I'll show you those when I do a flip through when it's done. I'll talk about every page later on, but I did finish the first signature by completing a page. Where's the first signature? Here. There. Okay. So this is the first signature, and it only had one page left to do. So this morning, it got kind of dangerous because I was going through some stuff and I started throwing stuff over here in the pile. Like, I got to use this, I got to use this. You know, I save stuff, I put it away, then I try to organize it and file it away. But then it doesn't get into the journal. So then I go through the stuff, pull all this stuff out and throw it back on the table so I'll use it. Anyway, I had this beautiful material gifted to me from Denny. She's a possum peep in Pennsylvania. She is also a nature lover, and she sent me a few items and this beautiful card that had fall colors on it. And she sent me this material which had these beautiful fall colors on it too. So I made a fabric flip, left a little bit of this background paper that was gifted to me. I think Heather gave me this quite a while ago. So this is a very interactive page with the flip and then opening up the card like that. And as I was going through some piles of stuff and boxes of stuff downstairs and drawers of stuff over there, I found this image, which I think is, I did printing with ferns and different leaves outside. And this has such amazing, I don't know if I could get it on there, detail on each of those little leaflets on the fern. And the color was absolutely perfect to go with this red rusty color there. And then I took one of the little critters from this paper over here, and he's a little busy beaver, and I was a busy beaver today. And I put him in front of the fern. And so even though this is a summer journal, she sent me this card in August, but it had a fall look to it, and I wanted to use this material that she had sent. And I want to start using all the stuff that I save up, which doesn't get used when I file it away and organize it, believe me. So now my first signature is done. The middle two signatures are the story, and I am leaving the story intact. So I went to the first page of the second signature. So on the first page of this second signature, again, I have quite a mishmash of things. This was a scrapbooking paper. This is from the same set. And this is like a special recycled, no trees used environmental paper pack that was gifted to me. Not the whole pack, but a few sheets were gifted to me. And I made this little door to open up from this little scrap I had. I have hardly any of this left, just little tiny pieces here and there. because I love it so much. It's just getting used up, which is a good thing. And I put this little wooden butterfly button there. I bought these a while ago. I have a little piece of gold thread on it because it is a button. And this little butterfly is inviting you to interact with the little door. And inside I have an Edith Holden page from my Edith Holden book. And I have a cutout from one of my, I think this is a North American nature book. And I have a quote up here. And this came out of this book, Meditations on the Earth. And this is full of quotes. And I knew this would be good to use in journaling. And of course, it's been sitting around and not getting used at all. So I took it out and started flipping through. And since I do a lot of nature journaling, I figured this has got to be within reach so I can flip through it and read the quotes and cut some out and put them in the journal because that's what I have it for. Meditations on the Earth. Celebration of nature in quotations, poems, and essays. And it's a beautiful little book. And then I got to thinking, I like this size. After I start cutting this up a bit, maybe I'll use this book cover to make a journal. And I need more journals. So I have Edith Holden. I have that. I have the nature book. And then I took a picture of this Canada lily. And I backed my little door with some of my elderberry dyed papers. Not this batch, but the batch from last year with the greenish tint to it. And I did my journaling. And I think this is the first wild Canada lily that I've found. They're very, very pretty. And this is a wild lily. And it is native to this area. And I wrote the little story. Mr. Potts and I were driving down the road, and I saw this flash of yellow. And I made him stop the car, and I ran back, and right on the side of the road, this lily was growing. And I bent down, and I was holding the stem. I wanted to check out the leaves, because a lot of times you need to identify things by looking at the leaves. And the leaves were in a whirl. They went around like this. And I bent the stem over, and I was like, oops. So I just picked it and brought it home. You never take flowers from the wild when there's only one. And there was only one lily. So I meant there was only one flower. There might have been more plants. I did not take the plant. And, but, you know, never take a wild plant from the wild if there's only 1 or 2 or 3 of those plants. If there's 1,000 of them, 100 of them, and you want to take one, if it's allowed in the area that you're taking it from, like alongside of the road, then that's, you know, better. And my philosophy is anything that's growing right on the side of the road is fair game to take because of the town and the state and the way they salt the roads and they plow and they mow along the roads and they come by with this big thing and chop everything up. So I'm thinking anything that's right next to the road is fair game because things usually don't survive very long right next to the road unless it's some kind of invasive species anyway. So I have a feeling that if I see this next year and it's right next to the edge of the road, even if it is the only one, I might try to dig it up. If it does come back. A lot of times things don't come back when it's right on the road, but we'll see. So anyway, I saved the flower until all the petals came off and it dried up. And there should be seeds in this part right here. So I might try and plant that in the garden and see if anything pops up next year. So this page is about the Canada lily that we saw growing on the side of the road. I love my little door with the little butterfly inviting you to interact. And this quote came out of that little book I just showed you. Consider the lilies of the field, how they grow. They neither toil nor spin. Yet I tell you, even Solomon in all his glory was not arrayed like one of these. Matthew 6:28-29, Luke 12:27. So a nice interactive page, and I've got to put in some things that I promised myself I would get to using. And here's another page I did. And this page had some grass in the background. And I took some images from that North American Wildlife book and from the Edith Holden Diary of an Edwardian Lady book. So I cut out the word September because this is September journaling. And the reason I put this black snake and these northern flickers is because this is Mr. Possum's nature sightings for September. He's getting a little bit better about seeing things and then telling me, but usually he tells me too late, so I don't have pictures. But anyway, he looked out the bedroom window and he saw all these strange looking birds on the ground in the backyard, and they were pecking into the dirt, and they had these little red chevrons on the back of their head. And he described them to me, and I said, oh, those are the yellow-shafted flickers. And I went and I looked, and I couldn't get a picture because of the screen, and they were just too little, too far out in the yard. But there must have been at least 12 or more, a whole flock of northern flickers. I have never seen a flock of northern flickers. I usually see one or two individuals on a tree or down on the ground pecking for ants. That's what they're looking for, ants, and also ant grubs that are down in the soil. So it is a woodpecker, but like I said, you can see it on the ground searching for ants. And it was just surprising to see so many of them in such a small space, all pecking into the ground at the same time. It was funny. I wish I did video that, but I was afraid if I went out around the house outside to film them that I would scare them all away, and I didn't want to bother them having their little ant dinner. The other picture, this black snake, which is really a rat snake, a black rat snake. Usually around here we just call them black snakes instead of black rat snakes. I think this is what he saw. I can't be sure, but he said there was like a 3-foot-long black snake sunning itself out in the driveway, and he walked over to it and it slithered away and went into the stone wall. So I'm thinking that it is this one. I can't be sure until I see it again, but I can always come back and correct myself. So I said, well, why didn't you call me? I would have come out and taken a picture of it and identified it. And he was afraid that that's exactly what I would have done, gone up to it to take a picture of it. These snakes are harmless. They won't bother you. They act, you know, they put up a fuss if you go near them to scare you away, but basically they're pretty harmless. They're very good climbers. They eat frogs, lizards, birds, bird eggs. They crawl on the ground in search of rats and other rodents. Farmers love to have these snakes around because they eat all the rodents from the yard. It vibrates its tail, creating a rattling sound in dry vegetation. So that kind of makes it sound like a rattlesnake. So that's just to scare people away or other animals away. And it also draws its head back in a curve. But it puts on the show of aggression, but it's not poisonous or anything. So these are Mr. Possum's nature sightings. So then I went over to this page because I had some July things I want to put in here from the garden. I ran out of room in my garden journal. So I'm putting in the nature and the garden. Although this was nature, it was wild. I'm going to do this page after, but I hopped over to this page, and since there was a lot of orange on this side, I decided to go with some papers from this old paper pack that's been hanging around. I don't remember what it was. Here it is. Mango Frost. I know I did not buy this at Marshall's. Did I get this at a tag sale or flea market? Probably, right? I don't ever remember buying paper at Marshall's, but I don't remember half the things anyway. So that's okay. I just threw that on the floor. So I took 2 strips to make a belly band. And then I got out, excuse me, I'm reaching down, some Dollar Tree stickers, because these had paisleys on them. And sort of like a boho looking medallion. And I'll show you why I picked those in a second. And that's because of this page has these paisleys on it. Isn't this pretty? I don't even remember this being in the pack for some reason. I'm sure I would have used it before now because I really like it. And I wanted to journal about the yucca plants. These are also called Adam's Needle. And not this year, but the year before we planted these. So this was just floating around on the desk, I guess, for a year and a half. I don't know. Anyway, I came across this and I said, well, let me put this in there. And I put that really pretty orange paper on the back with the sparkly around the edge. I love this. It has the paisley shapes in there that kind of go with that. So this is just going to slip in there like that. Nice and bright and fun and sparkly. This has sparkles on it too. And what I'm going to put here, or somewhere, you know what? Maybe I don't want to cover that. I'm going to put the yucca plants that we bought. I think we bought 2 little ones, and Mr. Possum split them up so that there's like 6 of them now. 1, 2, 3, maybe 5 of them now. I think one pot he divided in half, and the other pot he divided into 3. And they're growing, but they're not quite big enough to flower. Maybe next year. And the thing about yucca flowers is that it's part of my floral calendar. Now I took this, this was at a shopping center back on July 3rd. So when you see the white yucca blossoms, you know that it's 4th of July holiday. I always have these blossoms around for the 4th of July holiday. So, well, I guess I'm going to have to cover some of this up. I could put the flowers on that side and put these on this side. I could do that. These are printed out from a little Canon Ivy printer. So they are stickers. There's a slit in here where it was attached to the plant, so maybe I'll just cover that up like that. Put that on there. And what I'm going to do is, I'll go off camera for a second, and I'm going to put this on here and do some journaling. Okay, floral calendar, 4th of July, yucca. White bell-shaped blossoms. And I put this one's at the shopping center, and that the yucca plants in the yard were doing well. I put over, and you turn it over, and there they are. And yucca plants remind me of the Southwest. Now I have these cactus stickers. And for some reason I want to put one on this card. I know, I'm smashing everything together today. And that's what makes it fun. Or as Sharon over at Connections of Lives and Interests. Howdy, Sharon. says, keep the fun in all you do. I certainly do that. I'll put a little extra glue on here. This one looks like an aloe. But I wanted to just put a little sticker on there. How's that? Don't ask me why, but I wanted a little sticker on there. Guess I didn't need to smooth so much glue, but I could wipe this off. Okay, I'm going to have to wait for this to dry before I put it back under the belly band, because everything just got glued on. Well, that might be okay. That might be okay. Okay, so, here we go. And I like now that I can still see that pattern in the background. Because if I had put both pictures here, I would cover too much of that up. So I want to enjoy that and the sparkly stuff. Okay, so that's perfect. Okay. Now I'm going to go back and maybe find something for this page. Well, I'm going to go off track here a little bit. I was looking for some pictures of things I wanted to journal about, and I came across this one, which is red berries on my viburnum bush. Birds like to eat those. As you can see, they're almost all gone here. And I'm like, oh, berries, 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 berries. That's going to give me an excuse to get out my brand new Michael's paper pack, Celestial Wonderland, and use some of the berry paper that's in here. Woohoo, right? Well, I did journal about the viburnums back in my garden journal when they were flowering. Aren't they pretty? And I put in the information about that. And they do, some varieties do have purple, and some have red. Some have purple, some have red. And these had red berries. So I picked out this paper with the little purple berries and the silver sparkly dots on there, and some purple paper to journal on. And now there's a cat on my seat. So I think what I'm going to do is, oh, you know what? I might print out one more picture too. I'm going to use this paper for a background, and isn't that pretty? I wonder if I have something to do like a little ruffle there, and put the picture and do some journaling on this paper here. Okay, I'll be right back. Well, I put a little more glue on this belly band. Because the little tag was sliding in and out too much. I want to make sure it doesn't get glued in there. That seemed to be okay. And this page is going to turn out to be a little bit more than what I planned on. So I might finish this later, and I'll have to come back tomorrow and show it to you. But I did find this really pretty ribbon. I had little scraps of it. And I sewed this purple one. I didn't want it like too much of a ruffle, but I didn't want it straight either. So I kind of bent it this way and that way and just kind of made it funky looking like that. And then I decided I wanted something silver in each one of these parts where it's folded over. So I've been looking around, and then I remembered I had these little silver owls I got at the flea market. So it's going to take me some time, because I think I'm actually going to sew these owls onto here like that by hand, and then figure out how I want to journal on the page. So I'll finish this one tomorrow. I did do, you know, quite a few pages, 1, 2, 3. I thought I did 4. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Yes, I did 4 pages today, and I got the 5th one started. And I've got my pictures all printed out and sort of kind of what I'm going to put there. I did switch that darker purple for this lighter pink to put my journaling on. So I'll work that out later. Not worried about it. But I just want to thank you for coming along today while I did some nature journaling in my little golden book, Wonders of Nature. Happy junk journaling. Happy nature journaling. Bye-bye.